What's going on, guys? This is Ben from NolanTCG, and welcome back to the next step on the road to Master Rule 5. So in today's episode, we're doing our first revisit in that we are going back to look at our DDD list that we put together a few weeks ago, and we've done a couple of changes. We did enter it into a tournament for a Master Rule 5 demo day. Went all right, so we've had some adjustments to go on that and build upon. But as always, if you are new here, please remember to hit that subscribe button. We're always happy to have new people. We have these going up regularly on the road to Master Rule 5 as we have more decks that we want to show off. We do have quite a cool little design that doesn't really have a point, but is quite hilarious when you see it in action that we're going to have showing off in a couple of weeks. But now, let's get into a bit of a profile. Okay, so starting us off, we have our main deck. So it has changed a little bit based on what happened at the tournament and what we took into the tournament. The extra deck is what's changed more, as we weren't happy with some of the options that we were playing, so we've changed it up quite a lot. But, starting us off, we have our standard package of just 3 copies of Lamia, 3 copies of Swirl Slime, 3 copies of Necro Slime, and then the 1 Ghost. Then for the rest of them pendulums, we have 3 Kepler, 3 Ragnarok, 2 copies of Thomas, 1 Leonidas. Probably going to cut this, don't like this at all. It comes up at times, but I'd rather it be an 8 or another Copernicus. So we'd either change it to be a second Copernicus or a third copy of Thomas. Okay, so next up we have our spells and traps. So we've got 3 copies of Dark Contract with the Gate to start us off there. Then we have 2 copies of Dark Contract with the Swamp King. Then we've got triple Allure of Darkness, double Desires, and 1 Avarice, just because we want it to be as consistent as possible. Now that Avarice is back on the ban list, it's something that we wanted to take in and play. Did come up at times where we could recycle our resources and keep going, so I decided to keep it in here. Then for the one-offs, we've got 1 copy of 1 for 1 and 1 Foolish Burial. Then last off, we just have our traps. Again, these can change based on what you want to be taking. Starting us off, we've got the 3 copies of D-Barrier. Didn't see it in the entire demo tournament for Master Rule 5, so we didn't have any chance to activate it and see how it went. But then after that, we've just got 3 copies of Impermanence, and the 40th card is the Imperial Order. Okay, so next off we have our extra deck. So starting us off, we've got the 1 copy of Siegfried, 1 copy of Alexander, and 1 copy of Crystal Wing. Then following that up, we have the draw package in Hyper Librarian and Formula Synchron. Also to go with that package, we have the Meteor Burst, just for the combo that it entails when you use the Synchros. Next up, 2 copies of Genghis. We're keeping it at 2 just because in the standard combo it comes up at 2. Following that up, the 1 Beowulf. This is probably the most cuttable card. The toss-up was either between cutting this or cutting the FA Dawn Dragster in the 1 card that we were cutting. Ultimately, we went with the Dawn Dragster. They both came up, but the Dragster just kind of felt mediocre sometimes. But then finishing us off for our fusions is just the High King Genghis and the Oracle King Diarch. Next up, we have the Xyz. So we've got the Hope Harbinger and the Kali. They're both solid cards. Wouldn't consider cutting them at all. You kind of really need the Titanic Galaxy anyway. And then for the links, we have changed them up. So we've got Cross Sheep as our link 2, just because we do a lot of fusion summoning and that extra bit of advantage is good. Finally, this is a card we've put in after the tournament in the Borrelsword Dragon. There's a lot of times where it comes up when you don't quite fully have combo going second, or you've been disrupted, where you could either just go Borrelsword plus a fusion, or just Borrelsword plus anything. So we have put the Borrelsword in because it does come up in the deck. Okay, so finishing us off, we have our 3 draw, 3 negate combo. This has changed from last time in that last time it was 3 draws, 2 negates for the opponent's turn, 3 negates for your turn. It is now just 3 negates whenever. So starting us off for this combo, you are just going to normal summon your Kepler. Kepler effect will search Dark Contract. Activate Dark Contract to add your Copernicus. Then you will go Fusion Summon with Swirl Slime and Lamia for High Flame King Genghis. Then we will banish out your Swirl Slime to summon Copernicus. Chainlink 1 your Copernicus, Chainlink 2 your Genghis. To summon your Lamia, send your Necro Slime. Activate the Ragnarok at this point, and you will now Synchro Summon for Gust King. Now we'll use the effect of Lamia to summon itself back to the field. Or we'll use the effect of Ragnarok, to summon the Lamia back to the field. And you will now Synchro Summon for TG Hyper Librarian. Then at this point, we'll now go and fusion summon with Necro Slime to summon the High Flame King Genghis. So we'll trigger the Alexander to summon back the Lamia. Okay, so at this point, Copernicus should be in the extra deck, so ignore that little bit there where it goes to the graveyard. It should go to the extra deck. But next up, we are going to Synchro Summon for Siegfried, triggering the Hyper Librarian to draw 1 card, and triggering the Genghis to summon back your Lamia. Now you will Synchro Summon out your Lamia and your Kepler for Formula Synchron, drawing 2 cards at this point, so 1 and 2. Next off, you're going to go and Synchro Summon for Meteor Burst. Meteor Burst will summon your Ragnarok from the scale. Then finally, you can use the Lamia, sending the Dark Contract to summon itself back. Synchro the Lamia and the Meteor Burst for Crystal Wing. And then you go and overlay for Hope Harbinger. And that will finish us up for today's profile. Remember, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. We're always happy to have new people. Keep an eye out for the upcoming videos that we have in terms of Sealed Only and the Road to Master Rule 5. And as always, this has been Ben from NolanTCG. Have a good afternoon, everybody.